Hey guys, tonight we're stepping into something warped. Not quite horror, not quite history. Imagine a record store that doesn't show up on any maps, where every vinyl sleeve looks vaguely familiar, like something you saw in a dream you can't quite remember. The store smells like static electricity and old leather. And every track, it plays a version of a memory you never lived. Welcome to the kind of place that only opens its door when you're too tired to tell what's real. You probably wouldn't survive this store in real life. I mean, have you ever accidentally listened to a love song written about you by someone who doesn't exist? So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments, where are you listening from and what time is it over there? Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're walking down a road you don't remember choosing. The sidewalk tiles are cracked, each one echoing like a vinyl pop beneath your steps. A rust-colored sky lingers overhead. The sun is technically still up, but you wouldn't bet on it. Something about the air tastes like iron and old radio. On the corner ahead, there's a storefront you've passed before, but it wasn't here yesterday. The sign just says, Vinyl Rewind, in a font that looks like it came from a 1974 television intro. The windows are dusty but not dirty, like no one's touched them in decades, but also like someone just cleaned them in a dream. You push the door open, and the bell above it rings, not with a chime, but with the sound of a saxophone riff. You chuckle a little. It's the kind of detail your brain would make up if it were dreaming. But you're not dreaming. You feel the doorknob. You smell dust, cedar, and ozone. Inside, it's dim, but your eyes adjust quickly. Rows and rows of record bins stretch endlessly, each filled with vinyl sleeves, some warped, some pristine, some with holographic covers that shimmer with non-existent light. And behind the counter, barely lit by the flicker of a lava lamp, stands a man with a ponytail and a Joy Division shirt. His name tag reads Elliot, handwritten in blue marker. "You made it," he says, as if you had RSVP'd to a private event. "Took you long enough," you blink. He's chewing on a toothpick, or maybe it's a guitar pick. "I've never been here before," you say, though your voice sounds far away, like it's coming from the speakers of an old car stereo. He smirks. "You've been here in the background noise of other places. Airports, dreams, hotel lobbies. That's usually how people find us." You glance down at the nearest bin. The top record is called The Static in Her Smile by an artist named Velvet Cellar. The cover shows a woman with a television for a head, smiling. You flip it over. Track names include Rewind My Ghost, Marrow FM, Goodnight Frequencies. You've never seen or heard of it before, but one of the track titles rings inside your chest like déjà vu. You pick it up. It's heavier than it should be. "None of these are real," you whisper. Elliot doesn't look up. "Oh, they're real. They're just not from here." You raise an eyebrow. "We sell albums that were recorded but never released," he continues. "Songs written in timelines that got cancelled. Artists that never made it past age 6. Radio stations that never got funded. And people buy them? They don't buy." Elliot shrugs. "They remember." You turn to one of the speakers tucked in the corner. It's playing something slow, almost underwater sounding. A woman's voice croons in a language that feels ancient and brand new all at once. It's haunting, gorgeous, sad in a way you can't place. You ask him what it is. "That? Oh, that's from 1991. Well, a 1991. Somewhere between Yugoslavia and an America that kept Betamax as standard." You laugh. "Okay, so what is this place really?" He shrugs again. "We're just the middlemen. Music like this doesn't like being forgotten." You pick up another album. It's titled Songs for a Planet That Never Formed. The artist is listed as The Rain Delay. On the back is a warning. "Do not play after 3:33 a.m. unless supervised by a lucid dreamer." You laugh out loud. He doesn't. "Some records are more sensitive," Elliot says, his tone suddenly lower. "Some are tied to events, times, memory patterns that aren't stabilized yet." You set the record back down. There's a faint tremor in the floor, like a subway rumble, but you're miles from any station. You glance at the back of the store. There's a door that wasn't there a moment ago. A velvet curtain instead of a doorknob. Faint light leaks through the seams, flickering like candlelight at a seance. You look back at Elliot, but he's gone. In his place is a turntable, spinning. A record is playing. The title is Track 1 Where You Begin, and it's your voice on the record, whispering something you don't remember saying. Your knees feel soft, like your body is being tuned slightly off frequency, and then the curtain rustles, just slightly, as if inviting you in. But you haven't moved yet. Not yet. You haven't moved, but the curtain has. Just a little more now, like it's breathing. The air around it flickers, not from heat, but like an old VHS tape warping at the edges. Something behind it hums low, the way a record does when it's spinning without the needle down. You take a step forward. The floor creaks, not with age, but with familiarity. Like it remembers you. You don't remember it, though. That's the trade-off, isn't it? Some places remember you too well. Others make you forget on purpose. You part the curtain. Behind it is a room lit only by rows of vintage TVs, all stacked like cathedral windows. Each one flickers with grainy footage. Concerts, interviews, rehearsal tapes, except none of the artists look familiar. And yet, they do. In one screen, a singer with platinum hair and lips like an apology croons into a microphone made of vines. In another, a band in hazmat suits plays inside what looks like a planetarium. One screen shows a quiet man sitting at a piano labeled Property of the United States Department of Melody. You step further in. The room smells like warm vinyl and old neon. A low-frequency beat pulses through the floorboards. Barely music, more like the heartbeat of something dreaming. Elliot? You call out. No answer, but something else responds, a low hiss, not threatening, more like static. Then a flicker. A screen in the center of the wall flashes and changes. It's showing a news broadcast from 1973, but not your 1973. The anchor is speaking perfect English, but you can't place the accent. The headline reads, Singer Elliot Marsh found dead in hotel room. 5th musician this month. You blink. The name. The camera cuts to grainy footage of a funeral procession. The casket is closed. Mourners wear headphones instead of veils. One of them is holding a copy of The Static in Her Smile. You back away. Your chest tightens, but then from the corner of your eye you see movement. A figure sitting on a low couch, almost out of frame from all the TVs. You turn, slowly. It's Elliot, or a version of him. He looks younger. His hair is longer, no ponytail, no Joy Division shirt. Just a grey suit, like he wandered off stage during the wrong act. He looks up at you and smiles. Told you you'd find me, he says. You blink. You're dead? He shrugs. Not exactly, I'm archived. Archived? He gestures around the room. This whole store is a collection of what almost happened. Every song here was written, recorded, and then erased. By history. Or redirected. You try to speak, but he keeps going. I was a songwriter. For a while. Then a backup singer, then a footnote, then not even that. They pulled my albums from shelves before they were released. Said I was too risky. Said I made people remember things they weren't supposed to. You glance back at the TV with the funeral clip. But that broadcast, yeah, Elliot nods. That's from Timeline Delta 4. They archived me hard there. Nice funeral though, good turnout. You take a slow breath. The scent in. The air shifts. Warm paper, ash, and something like mint gum. It's weirdly comforting. Why is this store here, you ask? Why now? Elliot leans forward, elbows on knees. You've been listening to fragments your whole life. Ever heard a song in a dream and woke up humming it? Heard a melody in white noise? That's us. This place shows up for people who are already half-tuned to the signal. So you're receptive, he says simply. Which means you'll start remembering more. Things you never experienced. Albums you never owned. Lyrics that finish themselves in your mind. You shiver. He stands, walks over to a shelf, and pulls down a record. It's called Songs from Rooms You Never Slept In. Take this one, he says. Play it tonight. Not before bed, during sleep. Leave the needle running. You hold the record. It vibrates faintly in your hands. A joke tries to rise in your throat. Something like, "Does it come with a sleep timer?" But it dies before it leaves your lips. Something tells you this record doesn't stop unless it wants to. You glance back at the wall of TVs. Every screen has gone blank now, except one. It shows you, standing in the store holding the record, but you're not moving. You're just frozen. Like a paused tape. You look down at yourself, still moving, still breathing, but the version on screen now starts to smile, a slow, knowing, too wide smile. You drop the record, but it doesn't fall. It hovers. Spins slowly in midair, and then you hear it. A whisper just behind your ear, "I wrote this one for you." You turn. No one there, just the curtain. The curtain you walked through to get here. Except now, it's closed, and on the back, where it used to be plain velvet, someone has embroidered words in gold thread. Side B begins now, and you don't remember flipping the record over. The curtain doesn't open again. You stare at the words stitched into the velvet. Side B begins now, as if expecting them to change, to glitch, to reveal something behind the fabric. But they don't. They stay gold and still, like a locked screen on a forgotten phone. You reach for it, fingers brushing the surface, and the texture surprises you. It doesn't feel like cloth, it feels like tape, the magnetic kind used for old cassette reels, soft but charged. You pull your hand away. Behind you, the record. That didn't fall is now spinning in mid-air again. Slowly, clockwise, it makes no sound. But the room hums as if anticipating one. You pick it up. Against your better judgment, it's warm now, too warm for vinyl. You check the track list. Track 1, Familiar Streets at Unfamiliar Times. Track 2, You Said This Already, But Not to Me. Track 3, The Room That Listens Back. Track 4, National Anthem of a Country You Dreamt. You skip to the last one. Track 7, Reunion at the Record Store That Doesn't Exist. You blink. Something about that title messes with your inner ear, like déjà vu but for events that haven't happened yet. And that's when you hear it. A voice, singing, female, soft, not coming from speakers, not from the air, from inside your mind. The lyrics are muffled but coherent. They're naming people you don't know but instantly care about. Cities you've never visited but somehow long for. You shut your eyes instinctively, and suddenly you're no longer in the room. You're outside. Nighttime, a suburban neighborhood but eerily quiet. Every house has a single porch light on. All the lawns are too perfect. And from every driveway you hear music playing. Different songs, simultaneously. All vinyl, all warped. You walk past one house. The record playing inside is The Moon. Has an address, but she moved, by an artist named Julian Static. Another house plays Please Return My Future, it's still under warranty, by the Accidental Nostalgics. You reach a cul-de-sac. At the center, instead of a house, there's a small kiosk, like one of those listening booths from the 60s, but more melancholic. The walls are papered in old tour posters, dates that never occurred, cities that never existed. You step. Inside the booth, a microphone descends from the ceiling. A light blinks. Recording in progress. You hesitate, but then the voice from earlier whispers again, "Just say what you remember." But you don't, because what you remember isn't yours. You remember walking through Times Square in 1976, even though you were born in the 90s. You remember a cassette labeled For When It Rains on the Inside. You remember a concert where no one clapped because everyone had already heard the encore in a dream the night before. You remember music being banned in certain towns, not for obscenity, but for being too accurate. And above all, you remember Elliot, except this time, you're on stage with him. He's older, tired, holding an acoustic guitar made of something that looks like glass. He plays 3 notes and the lights flicker. "Careful," he says without looking at you. "This part's delicate. You don't know what to do. You don't know what's real. But you do know one thing. You're not the first person to come through the curtain. And you won't be the last, because then, like a match lighting in a cavern, you recall something said at the beginning, something half-joking but now painfully clear. You've been here in the background noise of other, places. This isn't just a record store, it's a reverb, a resonance. It's what happens when too many forgotten songs start remembering you. You step out of the booth. Back in the real world, if that's still what this is, you're holding the same record, but the label has changed. It now reads playback in progress, and underneath in smaller print, Side C, events may vary by listener. A breeze rustles the bins. Some records shift. One of them falls to the floor. You pick it up. It's your name on the cover. No artist, no label, just your name. And the album is titled The Time You Almost Knew. You stare at the record with your name on it for longer than you mean to. It's not just your name in a stylized font. It's your handwriting. You recognize the way the letters tilt, how the capital T hooks slightly on the left. No one else writes your name like that. Not even when they're trying to fake it. You flip the record over, half expecting to see gibberish or blank space. Instead, there's a single track listed. Track 1. You Were Almost Here. That's it. No time code, no featured artists, no genre hints. Just a quiet accusation. You were almost here, like the album is disappointed in you. You slide the vinyl from its sleeve. It's translucent, not clear, ghosted. You can barely see your hand. Through it, like you're holding a memory that isn't done forming. The label in the center is a mirror. You catch your reflection for a second, and in that second, your eyes look older, tired. Like you've been listening to something for far too long. There's a turntable now, of course there is, sitting on a small table where nothing was a moment ago. It looks like it came straight from a 1979 Sears catalog, if Sears had ever designed tech that could manipulate time signatures. The stylus is already hovering, waiting. You place the record down almost reverently. The needle lowers itself and everything shifts. The world around you pulses once, like someone dropped the bass on an ambient track made of your own thoughts. The record doesn't spin. You do. Suddenly you're not in the store anymore. You're walking down a sidewalk in a city you've never seen but deeply recognize. The street signs are in English, but the fonts are wrong. Helvetica with serifs. Comic Sans used unironically. A bus drives by, plastered with an ad for a band called The Dissonant Century. Tour dates include places like Minneapolis, Ontario, and West Berlin, California. A woman in headphones brushes past you and whispers, "Don't forget." The bridge. You whirl around, but she's already gone. You find yourself heading toward the sound. It's not music, not yet. It's the suggestion of music. Like someone's humming inside your skull but hasn't committed to a melody. Up ahead, you spot it. A massive mural painted on the side of a 4-story building. It shows a record store. Your record store. The Vinyl Rewind. Even has the same cracked neon sign blinking like a tired lighthouse. But at the bottom of the mural in red spray paint, someone has scrawled, "Closed until further notice, memory under restoration." Below that, Timeline 11 Beta, post-fire revision. Your heart stutters. You step closer. The bricks feel warm like sun-heated skin. You touch the painted door in the mural, and somehow it gives. You fall forward. You're inside the record store again. But everything's wrong. The bins are empty. The lights are flickering red instead of yellow. Elliot is nowhere to be found. On the counter sits a cassette player, a dusty old thing, the kind that eats tapes if you rewind too far. A label is scrawled across it in what looks like marker and regret. Do not play unless the silence gets too loud. The room is silent, so you press play. The tape crackles to life, and a voice speaks. Your voice. "You're here earlier this time. Good. Maybe we'll catch it before it loops." You freeze. The voice continues. "You've played the record already, right? The one with your name. If not, stop this tape. You'll ruin it again." You have no idea what's going on, but you do know one thing. The air has changed, heavier now, like you're deep underwater and the surface just moved farther away. 3. Tape continues. This place exists between frequencies. When music gets forgotten too fast, it doesn't disappear. It compresses, folds in on itself, becomes location. You look around. You understand now. This store is the compression. Every lost chorus, every shelved EP, every record that was mastered but never released, they didn't vanish. They gathered. Elliot isn't the storekeeper, he's the echo. "If you want out," the tape says, You have to find the original recording, the very first album that started the loop. You whisper, "What album?" But the tape has stopped, and where the player sat a second ago, there's now a single CD jewel case. It has no title, no label, just a track listing, handwritten on the back. Track 1, the first song you ever forgot. You pick it up. The case is warm, so is your chest. The fan above you kicks on, blowing softly like applause after a one-person show, and somewhere, faintly, you hear Elliot's voice again. But this time, he's singing. Elliot's voice echoes through the air like it's been trapped in the rafters, waiting for someone to press play. It's not a polished studio recording. It sounds like a home demo, complete with a faint cough between verses and the squeak of an old stool under him. The lyrics aren't profound, but they're honest. The kind of song someone writes when they think no one will ever hear it, which apparently was once true, but now you're hearing it. And the room is listening too. You clutch the jewel case tightly, half expecting it to vanish in your hands. It doesn't. Instead, it pulses faintly with warmth. A heartbeat maybe, or a countdown. The lyrics shift mid-line, not just in tone, but in tense. One moment he's singing about the girl I once met at the wrong train, and the next it's the train that never came back after she left. The melody keeps adapting, like it's rewriting itself based on what you almost remember. It's haunting, not because it's eerie, but because it's almost right. You step forward. The bins are empty, but the store feels full, packed even. Not with people, but with presence, like a sold-out crowd holding its breath backstage. Then the lights flicker again, not red this time, blue, soft and calm. And in that glow you see the display, one record, centered, spotlit. It's resting in a glass case, the kind museums use for ancient texts or cursed heirlooms. There's no title on the front, but on the display plaque below, etched in metal, are the words, "The original session recovered but unconfirmed." You approach it carefully, the same way you'd approach a memory that's too raw to say out loud. You place the CD jewel case down next to it. The display reacts, shifting, like old magnetic tape unraveling inside the walls. You glance around, the ceiling is gone. Not collapsed, just faded. Above you, the sky has turned into a vast, rippling sheet of speaker fabric. Clouds move across it like sound waves. Somewhere far above, you hear a DJ whispering backwards. You turn back to the glass case. Elliot is standing there now, but this time he looks new. You don't know how to explain it. He's wearing a denim jacket, holding a clipboard, like someone halfway through a sound check. There's a soft smile, exhaustion in his eyes, the look of a man who knows the booth mic has been left on this whole time. He nods at the record. "You found it," he says. "Found what?" He lifts the glass lid. No alarm, no dramatic music, just a quiet click, like an amp shutting down after a long set. "The first recording," Elliot says. "The one that started the bleed." You furrow your brow. "You said the store was built from forgotten songs, so how could one song cause all this?" He smirks. "Every storm starts with one air current. Every glitch starts with one pixel. This song wasn't just forgotten. It was erased, pulled mid-play, memory recoil, and when that happened, everything else that was connected to it started fraying. You look down at the record, it's blank. No grooves, no label, just black vinyl. How do I play it?" "You don't," Elliot says. "It plays you. You open your mouth to ask what that means, but then the store begins to change. The floor beneath you morphs into a stage. The aisles stretch outward into an auditorium, empty chairs, microphones suspended in the air like jellyfish. The walls ripple with posters that shift every time you blink. Famous concerts, famous venues, famous bands, none of which ever existed. Elliot hands you the record. "Place it on the turntable," he says softly. "But brace yourself. The grooves may run deeper than you expect." You walk slowly. The turntable is now in the center of the stage, illuminated from above by a spotlight that flickers like candlelight. You set the record down. It's heavier than before. The stylus drops. Silence. Then, not music, not exactly. A voice. Your voice. Singing. Something you've never written, but somehow you know every word. And then you hear the audience clapping, crying, cheering, except there's no one there. The applause is from memories that don't belong to you, and yet they fit, like a jacket you didn't know you missed. The applause doesn't stop. It rolls in waves, distant, ghostly, like thunder heard through a floor made of dreams, but you can't see anyone clapping. The auditorium is still empty. Rows of velvet chairs stare blankly ahead like they're waiting for someone who hasn't shown up in years. Still, the sound fills the room. It feels real. No, it feels earned. The record is spinning on the turntable, yet no song is audible. Instead, the air around you thrums with a kind of sonic pressure, like the moment before a needle drops or the split second before a memory resurfaces. You want to step back, to leave the stage, but your feet don't move. Then you notice the spotlight dimming. The room shifts again, softly like a record slowing from 33 RPM to a dead stop. And just like that, you're not in the store. You're in a hospital hallway. Fluorescent lights buzz above you like angry insects. A radio is playing faintly at a nurse's station. You don't know why you're here, except you do. Because down the hall in room 214, something happened, or almost happened. You follow the music. It's a song you don't recognize, but your chest aches like it's the theme to a moment that once defined you. A memory unfolds. You, younger. A hand in yours. Someone asking, "Can you hear it?" A statusy voice coming from a radio wedged between hospital pillows. The lyrics impossible to make out, but the melody, comforting, like a lullaby stitched from broken antennae. Then, just as quickly, it's gone. You're back on the stage. The record is still spinning, but now there's something new. Behind you, a banner descends from the ceiling, made of fabric that flickers like tape reels catching fire. It reads, "Welcome to the Lost Tapes Tour. Final night. Elliot steps." Beside you again. He's changed. Now he wears a faded tour jacket, his hair's streaked with silver. There's a laminate pass hanging from his neck that reads, "Guest, but only briefly." He gestures to the crowdless theater. "They were all here once," he says quietly. Every listener who hummed a tune they couldn't place. Every kid who recorded a mixtape and lost it in a drawer. Every DJ who played a track nobody else remembered. You swallow hard. "What happens now?" Elliot sighs, like someone who's explained this too many times to too many versions of you. You're at the point in the set list called the bridge. You can either go back to your world and forget most of this, maybe hear a stray note on the subway once in a while, or you whisper, or you stay, he says. Help us catalog the rest, find the missing refrains, rebuild the playlists of parallel timelines. It's quiet work, but important. You look at him. And the store? It stays between places, between thoughts. We only open for those who already suspect we exist. The record clicks. The stylus lifts. The room goes completely silent. You exhale. Somewhere off stage, a spotlight flickers. Then you hear it, a single piano note, then another, and then a woman's voice, clear and close, as if she's standing right beside you. She sings your name, not as a word but as a melody. You close your eyes, it sounds right, too right, and then the banner above the stage unfurls further. Beneath the tour title is a list of cities. Only one isn't crossed out. Next stop, where you almost remembered. You look to Elliot. He's smiling now, not out of mystery, but out of relief. You were the last missing track, he says. We just didn't know your title yet. You step off the stage and into the fade out. Fade out. Not darkness, not silence, just the softness of something ending, like a record gently running out of grooves, like the last page of a diary no one thought they'd finish. You're not in the theater anymore. You're in a car. Passenger. Seat. It's night, and rain streaks across the windshield in that cinematic way it only ever does in dreams or movies from the 1980s. The dashboard glows soft green. There's a radio on, but it's playing static. No music, no voices, just the hush and crackle of a station caught between frequencies. You glance to the driver's seat. No one's there. Yet the car is moving, steady and slow, like it knows where to go without being told. And then a song begins, quiet, lo-fi, barely more than a hum and a heartbeat. You recognize it immediately. It's your song, The one from the blank record. The one your voice sang without knowing the words. But this version is different, it's older. Worn, like it's been dubbed onto 100 cassettes and played in 100 quiet bedrooms, each time a little more distorted, a little more real. Outside, the car window, the world scrolls past in loops. You see that mural again, the vinyl rewind storefront painted on brick. You see the woman in the silver windbreaker, now holding a Walkman. You see Elliot, young and old at once, standing under a streetlight made of headphone cables, waving with a look that says goodbye and hello at the same time. Then the radio cuts out, a click, and a voice breaks through. Female, calm, mechanical but warm. Playback complete, archive synced. Would you like to begin again? You blink. The car slows to a stop. Ahead of you a new road begins, empty, moonlit, stretching farther than you can see. You don't answer the voice, because now you understand. This wasn't a dream. This wasn't even a story. It was a loop, and you've heard it before, just not in this version. You open the car door, step outside, and the world smells like vinyl again, dust and heat and memory. You walk. The air hums. Somewhere nearby a guitar string tunes itself, and then in the distance you hear it, that same record store bell, saxophone, not chime, same as the beginning. Only now, you're the one behind the counter. You glance down, a name tag. Written in blue marker, it says, you. No job title, no last name. Just a quiet, permanent welcome. The bell rings again. Someone walks in. They look tired, confused, maybe even a little scared. You smile and say what Elliot said to you. You made it. Took you long enough. The shelves are full now. Every record, humming with memory, and somewhere in the very back a curtain waits, still breathing, still listening. You don't tell them what the store really is. You don't explain the curtain. You don't mention the tracks that rewrite themselves based on what someone almost remembered last Thursday during a nap. You just watch as the new visitor wanders. Down the aisle, fingertips grazing the spines of albums that technically shouldn't exist. They pause at one bin marked unreleased but deeply familiar. Good choice. You remember that bin, first one you ever touched. You lean back against the counter. The seat creaks like it's missed you. The lava lamp on the shelf behind you flickers, red, then blue, then a color you don't have a name for, but feels like déjà vu set to rhythm. From the speakers, a track fades in. It's ambient at first, but then a voice, your voice again, enters like smoke curling under a locked door. Not singing this time, speaking. A spoken word piece maybe. Or a confession recorded accidentally onto side B of an unlabeled tape. This is where songs go when no one believes in them anymore. The visitor shivers and looks up toward the speakers. Yep, you did that too. They move deeper into the store. And as they vanish around a corner, the lights above the bins brighten ever so slightly, reacting to curiosity like motion sensors tuned to memory. Then, footsteps. From behind the curtain, you freeze. Not with fear. With recognition. You didn't hear it open, but now it's open. And from beyond it, a sound emerges, a familiar sound. A demo version of something you haven't written yet, raw guitar. Mistakes included, breaths between lyrics. That awkward bridge you thought about in the shower but never recorded. It's all here, the curtain ripples. The light behind it pulses gently, like the glow from a fridge you forgot you opened. You approach it slowly, not because you're afraid, but because this time, you know what's back there. And you're not alone. Inside the booth, there's a second chair now, a second set of headphones. A tape recorder labeled, New Session Pending Title. You sit, headphones on, and as the tape rolls you hear a voice. Not Elliot's, not yours, theirs. The new visitor. They're humming, improvising, adding something to the archive that's never been here before. A harmony. You close your eyes. Let it wash over you. Somewhere, a note you never meant to record finds its counterpart. A minor chord becomes major, a memory becomes music, a silence becomes a song. And you realize, this store wasn't built from what we forgot. It was built from what we refused to forget, from what we carried long after we had room for it, From mixtapes lost in glove compartments and radio hits played at the wrong time in the right place. From the soundtracks of lives that never made it past the rough cut. You exhale deep and slow. The session ends, you rewind the tape and label it for when they're ready. You shelve the tape carefully, filed between two others labeled first snow that was actually rain, and the last voicemail you deleted too quickly. Each case hums faintly, like it remembers how loud it once was. You step back out from behind the curtain. The shop is quiet again, but not empty. The visitor is still here. They're crouched in the corner near the section marked Live Albums from Imaginary Venues. One record lies in their hands. Friday Night at the Sunset Terminal, Unplugged, by a group called the Interstates. You remember that one? It's got that haunting acoustic cover of a song that doesn't technically exist. The melody bends in the middle like a map folded the wrong way. It's gorgeous. They hold it like it matters. Like it might be the one thing that explains a feeling they've had their whole life. You watch them turn the sleeve over, lips silently mouthing the track list. Highways are just long goodbyes. Salt on the dashboard. Echo delay, I love you too, probably. Encore from a town with no stage. They don't know you're watching, but that's okay. This place doesn't need announcements. It doesn't need directions. It finds who it's supposed to find. You head back to the front and glance at the register. It's analog, of course. The drawer slides open on its own. Inside is a single post-it note. All sales are emotional. You smile. A soft bell chimes. Not the saxophone riff this time, something gentler. Like the ring a glass makes when someone runs a finger around the rim. You look up. A second visitor has arrived. They look different, not confused, not afraid, just tuned in. They nod at you, say nothing, and walk straight to the instruments. That remember their owner's shelf. You watch them lift a harmonica. The metal looks like it's breathing. They raise it to their lips and play a note that hits you square in the chest. It's not the melody. It's the way they bend the pitch, just slightly. Like a name being said in a language only you remember. The other visitor hears it too. They look up, eyes wide, and now the music starts again, from the speakers, from the air vents, from the floorboards. A slow building harmony of forgotten songs. Demo vocals, voicemail apologies, jingles that never aired, lullabies hummed in hospital waiting rooms. And underneath it all, vinyl static, comforting, imperfect, real. You close your eyes. You don't need to curate this anymore. The store is alive. Now, self-organizing, self-playing. You were just the turntable, and now the record is spinning on its own. Somewhere in the middle of the soundscape, you hear Elliot's voice again, less like a person, more like a warm loop in a deep track. Don't worry, it never ends. It just plays on different speakers. You open your eyes. There's a new section in the store now. You didn't put it there. It's called Memories That Weren't Yours, but Fit Anyway, and you already know what's filed there. You walk toward the new section. Memories That Weren't Yours, but Fit Anyway. Even the sign looks different. Less like it was printed, more like it just appeared after being imagined too many times by too many people. The letters shimmer like heat rising off pavement. This corner of the shop feels softer, quieter. Not because the music has stopped, it hasn't, but because the tracks here don't need to be loud. They're not the kind of songs you dance to. They're the kind you hear on the second loop of a playlist at 2 a.m. when your phone's face down and you think no one's listening. You scan the shelf. First title, Conversations You Never Had With Your Father. Spoken word, ambient guitar. Next to it, That Summer You Think You Remember But Didn't Happen Except Emotionally. Folk, field recordings, gentle static, and another, Mixtape Found in Someone Else's Glove Compartment. Various artists. Genres unclassified. You run your finger along the edge of the shelf. It feels warm, like sunlight that waited too long to fade. And then, tucked in the back, you find a small record. No sleeve, no label, just a tiny handwritten note attached, with a piece of yellowing tape. This one's not finished yet. You pick it up. It doesn't feel like vinyl. It feels like intention, like someone once meant to make this song. They just didn't get around to it. Or maybe they did, but no one ever listened, which in a place like this is basically the same thing. You look to the record player near the window. It's changed again. Now it looks like a portable suitcase, model from the 60s, the kind a kid might have used to play Beatles singles or bootleg horror audio dramas. The tone arm is chrome, and the felt on the platter is worn in just the right way, like someone played only one song over and over every night for years. You set the unfinished record down, gently, and as the stylus drops, you hear nothing. At first, then faintly, a voice, not singing, not speaking, just breathing. A mic check, a laugh, a door closing in the background. This is a demo, a recording before recording. The room hushes. Even the other visitors stop browsing, as if the air itself is holding its breath for whatever comes next. Then, a guitar string plucked twice, and then, "Hey, if anyone ever hears this," and the voice is cracked, unsure. "This is what I wanted to say, I think." A pause. Long enough that you wonder if the recording's over, and then, "You weren't crazy. You did hear that song once, I just didn't finish it, I didn't know how." Something twists in your chest because you know now. That voice? It's someone you almost became. A version of you that chose the other fork in the road, the one that didn't lead here. And somehow that version left this behind, for you. You glance down. The record has stopped spinning, but the air hums like it's still playing. The other visitors are staring at you now, not with judgment, but with something gentler. Recognition. You nod. They nod back. You place the record back on the shelf, where it quietly recategorizes itself into a new section. Recovered futures, unmastered. You smile. Because now you understand the truth of this place. It's not just a record store, it's a rescue mission, one track at a time. There's a new smell in the air now. Warm magnetic tape, sandalwood, and something faintly metallic, like the scent of rain right before it falls. The record you just played may be silent now, but it left something behind. A tone, maybe. A presence. You glance around. The shop has changed again, not drastically, just subtly. The shadows are a little longer. The ceiling fan is now spinning backwards. And in the distance, a radio behind the counter plays a faint jingle that repeats the phrase, "Broadcasting from somewhere near yesterday." You step past the recovered futures shelf and find yourself near an old photo wall. Except the photos aren't photographs. They're album covers that never existed, each one framed like a memory. Some are in color, some in black and white. Some look hand-drawn, as if a teenager once imagined their dream band, sketched a fake cover, and stuffed it in a shoebox under their bed. You walk slowly. Your eyes land on one frame near the bottom. Twassy Volume 0, Songs from Before the World Was Loud. The artwork is minimal, just a lone figure in headphones, sitting on a rooftop under a quiet sky. And then, without warning, the lights cut. Not sharply. Just softly gone. The entire store dims like someone turned the sun to standby mode. You hear the click of a tape starting somewhere far off. Then, footsteps. Not yours. You turn, and there he is, Elliot. Different again. This time in a dark suit, shirt open at the collar, barefoot. His eyes are distant, like he just woke up from the middle of someone else's dream. He doesn't say hello, just steps past you and kneels by one of the old listening booths. He sets a reel-to-reel tape on the spindle, threads it carefully. His voice is calm, almost whispering. This next one never had a home. He hits play and the sound that emerges is impossible. It's not one track. It's many, layered over one another like geological strata of forgotten radio waves. You hear a voice message left but never sent, a child humming an original tune into a plastic microphone, an orchestra tuning up but never playing. A slow jazz solo that feels like it's apologizing for something. Laughter. And underneath it all, barely audible, a voice, yours, saying, "We should have recorded this." The booth glows faintly now. Pale blue, a sign on its side flickers. To life. Booth 3, for unfinished goodbyes. Elliot stands again. He looks at you. "You have one," he says. You hesitate. "An unfinished goodbye," he clarifies. "Everyone does. The tape only works if you say it out loud." You swallow. It rises before you can stop it. That thing you didn't say, that message you almost left, that moment at the bus stop, or the airport, or standing beside someone who didn't know you were trying to memorize the shape of their silhouette. You step into the booth. It smells like old paper and the beginning of something. The microphone crackles. A reel turns. The red light blinks. Recording. You take a breath. You say it, and it's not eloquent. It's not even fully formed, but it's yours. It lands on the tape like dust on a needle. Delicate, imperfect, real. You step back. The booth door closes behind you on its own. The sign outside updates, track saved. Elliot gives you a soft, sad smile. You'd be surprised, he says, how many lives get lighter after they leave something here. Then he points toward the back of the store, where a new door has appeared. It's painted with the same color as the frame on your unfinished song. A post-it note is stuck to it. You walk up and read it. B-side material. Handle with care. You push open the door. It doesn't creak or click, it just sighs like something long tired of being closed. On the other side is a staircase, lit by soft yellow bulbs strung along the railing like an afterthought from a forgotten holiday. The air is warm and still, scented faintly with pencil shavings and burned coffee. It smells like basements, like late-night projects, like ideas that never made it past almost. This isn't part of the shop. Not officially. You're in the B-side. The stairwell opens into a space that looks part attic, part recording studio. Part attic pretending to be a recording studio. Dust hovers in the air like it's been waiting for someone to breathe it. There are instruments here. Guitars missing strings, half-assembled drum kits, a wall of harmonicas with labels like Hopeful, Bittersweet, and Last Try. In the center of the room, under a soft spotlight, sits a reel-to-reel recorder. A note rests on top, handwritten block letters, confident. Master copies, listen before you erase. You press play. The reel spins slowly. The sound begins as static, no surprise there, but then resolves into music that sounds halfway between a lullaby and a resignation letter. It's not flashy, not catchy, but it sticks, like the tune of a commercial you saw once in childhood, for a product that never shipped. And then the vocals begin. This time it's not your voice, it's not Elliot, it's everyone else, snippets, fragments, a crowd of people singing along to different songs that somehow impossibly harmonize. You catch lines like, I taped over it, but I remember the chorus. She said it was just noise, but I knew it was mine. This track wasn't meant for charts, just for me. The vocals fade. A hush follows, and then a sound you didn't expect, laughter, pure, unscripted. It bubbles up like a blooper reel that never got erased. People fumbling lyrics, breaking into giggles, trying again. You realize what this is. It's not just B-side material. It's joy that never made the edit. The stuff that gets left behind when we try to make things perfect. You sit on the floor. Let the reel play out. When it clicks to a stop, you feel lighter, like someone just turned down the emotional reverb on your whole day. There's a shelf nearby labeled Songs That Failed the Focus Group. You browse. Some of the titles are absurd. Don't Cry, I Still Owe You Coffee. The synth solo was supposed to be a joke. Track 7, we forgot to mute that guy's mic, but some hit. Hard. Voice memo, 3 a.m. Do not send. Recorded. On your last happy day. Please skip if you're not ready to forgive me yet, you're not sure what to do, and then you notice a record sleeve, poking out halfway from under an amplifier. It's blank, except for a single sentence scribbled on the front in black pen. You're allowed to love what never got finished. You close your eyes, let it settle in your chest, because yeah, sometimes the best tracks aren't the ones that win awards or get shared a million times. Sometimes they're the ones that live on quietly, in old hard drives, in shoeboxes, in your humming. You rise. There's one more reel left on the shelf, marked simply, to be continued. You pick it up, tuck it under your arm, and head back. Upstairs, as you climb, you hear music start again. Not from speakers, from the store itself, like it's singing you back in. As you step back into the shop, something has changed. You can feel it before you see it. Like the shift in atmosphere before a key change, the kind of change that isn't loud or obvious, but once it happens, nothing quite plays the same again. The lighting is warmer now, honey-colored. The shelves no longer stretch endlessly. They're cozier, tighter, easier to navigate, like the store itself has decided it doesn't need to overwhelm you anymore. The records hum softly, not playing music but murmuring presence, like each one knows you've seen something, heard something, left something behind. At the counter there's a small box that wasn't there before. Inside it, cassette tapes, labeled in careful handwriting. Each one reads, your name, tape, number. You flip through them. There are dozens, maybe more. You didn't make these, and yet you recognize them. Tape 1, that laugh you only heard once in the rain. Tape 7, a voicemail that never made it past the draft folder. Tape 12, the way someone said goodbye without using the word. You pick up tape 24, it's labeled, that one morning you felt okay for no reason. And you realize, this store didn't just collect songs that were forgotten, it's been archiving. You not in a creepy surveillance kind of way. In a compassionate, hey, that mattered even if you didn't keep it kind of way. A second box sits behind the first, smaller, newer. Only one tape inside. This one labeled, the first song you haven't written yet. It's blank. You take it anyway, because maybe the next time you're humming to yourself in the kitchen, or walking alone with your earbuds in, or staring at the ceiling at 3:12 a.m. with no one else awake, maybe then you'll start recording. And maybe that's the whole point. You glance around, the visitors are still here, browsing, humming. One of them is sitting cross-legged in the aisle, headphones on, eyes closed. Another is dancing slowly, like they're swaying with someone who isn't here, but used to be. You step back behind the counter. The register pings softly. No sale, just a receipt printing itself. It reads, "Thank you for remembering." And underneath, "You may now exit through the track you entered on." You smile because you know what that means. You walk toward the door. Not the front entrance, not the curtain, but a side door that's been here the whole time, waiting to resolve like the final chord of a song. As you reach for the handle, the music fades again, not into silence, but into something even quieter. Understanding. You turn the handle slowly. The door doesn't swing open. It dissolves, not dramatically. No bright light, no gust of air, just a gentle transition, like fading out of one song and into the next on a playlist you didn't realize was shuffled. You step through, and now you're outside, but not outside like before. The sky overhead looks normal at first glance. Blue, scattered clouds, sun in the right spot, but the shadows are wrong. They fall at half beats. They stretch in directions they shouldn't. It's not unsettling, it's kind of beautiful. Like walking through the chorus of a memory you didn't know you still had access to. You're on a street familiar, but impossible. The buildings are stitched together from eras, mid-century diners next to neon-lit arcades, next to corner stores, with radios in the windows. Everything looks slightly borrowed, as if the world itself was assembled from liner notes and movie scenes you almost forgot. You walk, past a payphone ringing with no cord, past a poster for a concert scheduled in someday, probably, past a mural of Elliot, half shadow, half smile, with the caption, "He never toured, but he played everywhere." People pass you, some look like you, some look like who you used to be, others look like who you tried very hard not to become. But they all nod as they pass, like you're in the club now, somewhere music plays, a quiet track, acoustic, imperfect. Someone is singing, "When the world won't listen," you hum it to yourself. When the world forgets, you file it on a shelf. You find yourself smiling without realizing it. And then, just as the final note fades out, a bus pulls up beside you, old school, cream-colored, a destination sign flickering. Loop line, final, playback. The door hisses open. The driver doesn't speak, just tilts their head toward the empty seat near the back, next to a window half steamed with someone's breath. A record sleeve is tucked between the cushions. You sit down, pick it up. It's the one, your album, the one you didn't write, the one you might still write, the one the store remembered on your behalf. You read the title, Collected Works of a Life Half Listened, to track 1, You Were There. Track 2, So Was I. Track 3, Let's try again. The bus pulls away. No rush, just motion. The sky outside the window blurs into soft tones, like a mixtape cover from the 90s you saw once in a thrift store and still think about sometimes. And as you ride, you hear it, a faint crackle of vinyl beginning again. Somewhere far off a bell rings, saxophone, storefront, and the curtain flutters, just slightly, ready for the next visitor. The bus hums along a road that doesn't really exist on any map, unless you count the kind drawn on napkins during long talks that run past closing time. You sit quietly, the record still in your hands. It's lighter now, as if finishing the story reduced the weight of all the things you never said. Outside the window, the scenery changes, like a slow dissolve between scenes in an old film reel. There's a beach you only visited in a dream, a diner you've never eaten at, but remember, the smell of a city skyline built entirely from sounds you forgot to turn into songs. No one else is on the bus. No one needs to be. The speakers overhead crackle to life, not with music this time, but with a voice. Yours, a line from a voice memo you once recorded and deleted before you finished. I don't know if this will matter to anyone but me. It trails off, but the sentiment stays. The driver glances back at you, just a reflection in the rearview mirror. Their eyes are kind. Next stop. They say gently, final track. The bus slows outside the window. You see it, the vinyl rewind. Right where you left it, except now it looks closed. The neon sign is dark. The door is locked. A handwritten note hangs on the inside of the glass. Gone archiving, back soon. You step off the bus. The driver nods once, then disappears. With a low hiss of air brakes, like an exhale you didn't know you were holding. You stand in front of the shop. The record tucked under your arm, and for the first time since this all began, you don't feel the need to go back in. Not because it's over, because it's stored, because everything that needed to be heard was. You take a breath. The world around you sharpens, your street, your shoes, your real life, waiting just outside the margins of music, and before you leave, you glance back once more. The curtain behind the glass flickers, and for just a moment, you hear it again. That saxophone bell, that gentle hum, that subtle voice. You're the track now. You smile because you know the truth. You were always part of the archive. The store never wanted to trap you. It wanted to remember you. The wind picks up. A soft breeze carries away the dust of one more forgotten refrain, and you walk forward, not away, just onward, toward whatever comes next. End sequence. The screen fades to black. A single line types itself, like an old terminal screen. Playback complete. Then, one final message.